instead of that, it just comes up with Stephen's little face.
Okay.
Top, like his profile picture.
I'm live now. I'm live now. So
and down at the bottom.
So I'm going to put the phone down and come onto your page.
Okay.
Right?
What's this thing?
I don't know. That's the tag.
As friends, no.
When they appear. No, it's
a little man with a square.
She's going to send a request to us.
Okay, what is this though? That's forwarding.
They're sending it to somebody.
That's turning the camera around. Hi, family. We're trying to figure out new technology.
They wants to be
hit
in
the
your
thing.
video.
There it is. Oh.
Approve.
Okay.
In now? Karen's watching. Hey, Karen.
Karen, we're trying to figure out a live post, so please bear with us.
You're watching us do some live video. I see Jay. Okay.
Did you touch it?
I mean, Jay will.
You keep missing these things over
no,
here.
No, that's just when somebody likes it. There we are.
Houston, we have liftoff. So it said to me, you must turn your phone horizontally. I was like, okay. If it tells me to turn my phone horizontal, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to try to.
So bear with us while we all try and adjust, because now the thing won't hold my camera. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see.
Put it here. I can hear her clear.
I gotta make sure I don't put it on the buttons. Make sure.
Flip it the other way around.
Make sure.
Oh yeah. Ready.
You have to learn how to edit.
All right, we're in.
Okay.
Hello.
Good. So I'm just going to share this right now. Let's share it to our page. Guys, it's so good to see you. Are you okay? Finally, we made it. We did it.
We're live. Yay!
Technology is amazing when it works, isn't it? And when it doesn't, it's like... It's so good to see you guys after the conference. How are you doing?
Oh, we're doing wonderful.
We are well. It's good to see you.
Fired up, and we're trying all kinds of new things. Just the example is right here.
So sweet. So guys, I want you to introduce yourselves for my viewers, and then I'll introduce myself for your viewers. So just tell us a little bit about you, about Bliss Academy, and what you really stand for.
Well, Stephen and Sonji Millet here at Blisstopia University or Bliss Academy. However we term it, it's all good. We're here to share about our life and our marriage and how you can still have spice and fire in your marriage after years. We've been married for 10 years now.
Woohoo!
And we're still on our honeymoon every day. Honestly, it's just a joy being married to this lovely lady right here. She's my best friend. And we're going to share with you some of the things that make this whole thing click. A lot of people think relationships and marriage, oh, you got to be hard and you got to struggle. You don't have to. But if that's your expectation, you will succeed.
Woo!
And so as you get past those limiting beliefs and learn to expect the best, then you can begin to experience that. And a couple of the things that we're going to share today, just 3 main points. There's communication, kindness, and have fun.
Amazing, amazing. And so, well, I'll introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Jay Diamond. I'm a sex and relationship coach. And as a result of working with me, stuck singles find their soulmate and struggling couples get juicy and reconnected again. So they have the best sex of their life and they snatch their sexy back. And so my clients are singles or couples who are just really wanting to live a life of love. And I guess in a deeper spiritual purpose, you know, it's the path of the heart, because we learn so much about ourselves through this evolvement and this journey of love, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And one of the
Yes, we
things
do.
that really stuck out to me when I met Stephen, I think it was in November at the Lisa Nichols conference. And one of the things that really stood out for me about Stephen is the way that he talks about Sonji and the way that he says, you know, we've been married for 10 years and we're still on our honeymoon. We're still having a great time. We have so many adventures. And it was so lovely to see this overflowing of bliss, this overflowing of love, and this overflow of affirmation. And so it's really nice to hear, and we're really on the same wavelength when we're talking about, because literally this morning I did a video about the throat chakra and how powerful our words are and what we say and what we believe. So just before we go into these three keys, talk to us a little bit about the Bliss Academy, because it sounds so interesting.
So Blisstopia University is what we call our educational aspect of our business, where we help to teach couples or singles, same as you, how to communicate clearly with those that they love or want to build a relationship with. And we have products for speaking engagements, we have life coaching engagements, and we also have like a retreat where you can get really one-on-one private coaching from us. So that's what we've been doing this past year, and we're really excited about helping those folks that want to connect with us find their bliss.
Oh my God, I love the word Blisstopia. Are you able to get a little bit more light where, because I think where you were before, it's just a little bit darker in the
Oh,
room.
yeah, we can do it.
I'm not sure if you can. Sometimes it's just the way the video is set out. Yeah, there we go. So I've got three keys and you've got three keys, and I just thought, what a powerhouse we could be together for couples who just really want to keep their relationship alive and juicy, and you're living it each and every day. It's so beautiful to see. And so tell me your first key to keeping long-term relationships alive.
First key, communication.
Mm-mm.
We think about communicating with others, but the first communication has to be with yourself.
Mm.
We bring so much baggage to a relationship. So things in our head are happening. We're talking to ourselves about the other person. Many of the things may not even been true. It's just a replay of something that's happened to you in the past. Yeah. And we're not even allowed them a full opportunity to be themselves. And so the first conversation is in your head, and it's about believing you can have a good life, thinking you can have a good life, thinking the best about other people. One of the things that we do together is read books. One of the books that we read is The Fourth Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Such a good
and the
book.
first agreement is let your speech be impeccable. So you have to think good thoughts about yourself and speak good about yourself and also about others. Mm. So if you believe the best, speak the best, that's the beginning of it. And so when you have these communications, you're not expecting a negative. We as people expect so much negative because we're inundated by the news and by people. If you just listen to conversation, people always tell you what they don't like. They tell you what they don't want. When you get intentional and know what you do want and speak those things and expect those things, then your communication takes a whole new vibe.
And as a relationship, when you know what you want, it's easier to communicate with the person you're trying to build a relationship with. And there are no games.
Yes.
There's no hidden agendas. It is all out there. It's open, and you get what you're asking for because you're attracting that into your life. Mm. One of the things, the stories that Stephen always loves about me was when we were, dating, the baggage I carried was I'd have a complete argument in my head.
Oh, don't we all?
About something that went wrong.
Yeah.
And before I even see him or whoever I was dating, I've already got the answer to the argument, and there's no argument anymore.
I've already decided. So, it's done.
Yes. And, and I won, of course. But now that we are communicating clearly and we're talking to each other, it's like a whole new level of understanding has opened up. I don't have to guess what he wants for dinner or for the evening communication.
Because he told
Tells me
me.
exactly. And I've learned to tell him exactly
Hey.
what I
And
want.
that's how we get our needs met. And that's how we feel loved and heard and seen, because we're actually allowing the other person to serve us and to love us and to feel good about loving us. Like, don't we all want to make our partner happy? But we have this kind of thing where it's like, well,
Exactly.
if you don't know without me telling you, then there's something wrong. But we're not all mind readers.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. One of the significant women in my life who has been a role model for me used to say, well, if I have to tell him what to do, then he obviously doesn't love me. Well, you're getting exactly what you asked for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? And that really segues so beautifully into my first key, which is writing desires with your partner. And to actually make it a practice, and you can every 3 months sit together. And what do we desire? What can we co-create? How can we move from a place of desire where we can sit every 3 months and just say three things? Um, what are three things that we would like to create in the next 3 months? You know, what one thing a
Exactly.
month can we do that feels really great together? And that's where this energy of like adventure and connection, when we're doing things with our partner, we create a good bond, we create excitement. Of course, life is life is life is life. Things are going to come up, things are going to go good, things are going to go bad, kids are going to get sick, people are going to get tired and grumpy. But when we actually proactively put into our relationship, what do we desire? And it doesn't have to cost a fortune, does it? It can be so simple. It can be, let's just go and have a for 2 hours and we have a picnic in the park together and it feels great. What three things can we do in the next 3 months? And they can be grand and they can be great big gestures, or they can be super small and sweet. And what I've found working with couples actually is the things that keep them together are the small sweet things. It's the small bonds, it's the small offers of love, the small pieces of understanding rather than the big grand gestures, you know.
Exactly. You were talking about writing it down. One of the tools that we use is a vision board in
Beautiful.
our bedroom, on the wall, every morning when we wake up, right in front of us. There used to be this ironing board that's on the wall. So we turned that into our vision board, and we've got pictures and affirmations right there. So we know what together we want to build. And when I wake up, I look at those affirmations. We say them before we go to bed. And that is our, what do we want to accomplish in the next 3 months?
Sweet. I love that idea because it's the creating this energy that this kind of is a force field around a relationship. You know, it has its own energy. It's kind of like its own being, isn't it? You know, who are we together? Of course, we're our own separate people, but who are we together and what are we wanting to live our lives like? And I think this is a part of relationship that we often talk about. We have this kind of magical thinking around relationships that they should just take care of itself. But the reality is something only grows if you water it. You know, the grass
Yes,
only
yes.
grows if you water it. If you don't water it, it's going to wilt. And you can't blame anyone else. Like if you're off watering everything else in your life, but you don't, pour into your relationship. So beautiful to hear that you have this co-creation. Where are we going together? What are we moving towards together? It's beautiful.
Exactly, exactly.
And what would your second key be to lasting relationships?
Kindness.
Mm.
You want to speak to that first?
So, sure. We believe that our relationship is, I guess that's one of the secret sauces, the kindness. We take care of each other. We take care of what we say and how we say it. I'll give an example. We've been talking about it all week. Some days I may not be the sweetest, kindest Sonia.
Don't believe
So
it,
what
Sonia.
say to me always,
Don't believe
I
it.
need my halo up
Just
here.
keep my halo up.
Anyway,
Stretch a little.
so what Stephen will say to me is, do you need a Snickers? Now, that is a lot more kinder than saying, you know what, I don't like the way you're talking to me and you need to straighten it up.
Yeah.
But it gets the point across and gets me to calm down and to understand I need to be a little bit more kinder. The other thing, I'm going to bring this little gadget in here. We take care of each other's needs. One of the things Stephen likes is massages.
Oh my
And
God.
this little head massager just turns him into a purring kitten. Let me tell you, ladies. Okay. Look at his face. You can see it right there. It's like, oh my God, keep going. But this little thing, 50 cents, $1, and that gives him much joy. Go ahead.
Let me come back to reality.
Stephen can't speak now. He's like, can you just carry on, please? I don't care about the video anymore. Just keep on with this.
Oh, the speaking kind and being kind to each other is key. As I said, we read a lot of books together, and I forget which book it was, but it says, ask yourself 2 questions before you get ready to say something. Is it helpful, and is it kind?
Yeah.
Many things are helpful, but if it's not said in a kind way, it won't even be received. and so those are like 2 things. Is like, okay, I need to say this, but I need to figure out how to say it in a kind way. And as you do that more and more, the other person experience that care and love, and it breaks down some of their defenses, and it also helps you to receive when they're speaking to you. So this kindness thing is I mean, we do so many little things. Sonji has these conference calls early in the morning, and she's on the phone around the world because of the different time zones, just like we are this morning. And I'll get up, I'll make my breakfast and getting ready to go to work, but I'll also make her breakfast and bring it in there and set it on her desk while she's on her call. We do little things like that for each other all the time, you know. She talks about the vision board. One of the things I love that she has on our vision board is that she says, I meet 100% of my husband's needs daily. And I'm like, wow, you go.
I'm behind that one. You go for it, girl.
I'm in on that one.
Yeah. I'm receiving it. Thank you, Jesus. Sweet. But the intention, you know, the intention to be of service to each other is a very powerful thing. And I think a huge part of this path of the heart and this path of love is ego slaying, massively ego slaying endeavor to go deeper and deeper in love with any human being, whether that's a mother, a father, a child, a friend, a lover, a husband, a wife, requires this continual, you know, look at the ego. What does the ego want? What do I want? What would love do? Asking this question, what would love do? And it can feel really challenging sometimes, you know, even though we think we're right. How do we express? And I would say, for me, like I'm naturally like a very kind. I'm an Earth sign Taurus with a Scorpio moon, so I'm like very direct, very deep, and very direct. And you know, over my life, I've really had to temper this directness because not everybody communicates in that way. And it took me a long time to realize that. And a lot of pissing people off and having to learn to kind of temper how I communicate, you know, and kind of sometimes buffer a little bit and sometimes make it a bit more flowery and a bit more gentle so it can be received in the best way. Because if it's not being received in the best way, then the communication's lost, whether or not this is the way I like to communicate. It's about what's the end result, you know, what's the end goal. And if the end goal is connection and understanding, then we have to learn to adjust.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's so powerful that when I do meet his needs, I pumped him up. You talked about the ego. He can go out there and slay every dragon I need slayed.
Exactly.
And he brings it back to me, and then I regenerate and help him. And the same thing he does for me. And together we can face the world because we know that we have a safe environment at home, a loving environment at home, and we're not going to be judged here at the house. And he can come back and bring his issues, and we can help solve them together, go back out there, do even more. He pumps me up and gives me a little pat on the behind in the morning. That's our fun thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. That little pat is like, go get him, girl.
Beautiful. So again, really beautifully segueing into my second tip, which is apologizing and knowing when to apologize and having the strength, because it does take a lot of strength sometimes to apologize. And even when, we sometimes you still think that you're right, and perhaps you are right, but you don't feel good about the way you communicated something, or good about the way it came about, or good about the way the conversation came up, maybe through a lack of communication, and then it turned into an argument. But when we can really take ownership for our side of the street, I think in a relationship, we have to keep looking, am I keeping my side of the street clean? Because their side of the street is their responsibility, and my side of the street is my responsibility. And am I doing the best that I can do? And we're all human and we're not all perfect. And sometimes we mess up, we say things, we do things that we don't feel good. And I feel like the more that we're willing to be honest, the more we're willing to say, something about this doesn't feel good to me. And I don't like it because it's me that needs to apologize, even though I still think I'm right. Or, I still think you shouldn't have done that. That can be so. But if we take responsibility and say, well, I don't like the way I expressed that, I could have done it better. I still think you shouldn't have done X, Y, and Z, but I'll take responsibility for how I expressed that, or for withdrawing and not expressing that, and for just leaving the house in a stump. And it kind of opens up this beautiful space and energy then, where we can have a conversation. We can be open. And it's like, instead of just pointing fingers, we can start to be open. And what happens is there's less resentment that's built up in relationship, because I'm clear in my heart when I know I've done my best and I've expressed myself, and when I've expressed myself in a not so great way, I've apologized. Like, I can feel clear each and every day with the love that I'm offering. I'm not having to hold anything back, because sometimes what we can do is, in order to justify our behavior, we have to make the other person seem small or seem wrong, because we have to justify the way that we've behaved. And so we have to make them wrong, or make them bad, or even just in our mind, put them down so that we can be right. And it's this ego thing, the need to be right. And so it creates distance in the relationship, and it's unspoken and it's unsaid, and we can rarely track where it comes from. But such a powerful thing to kind of sometimes go through these resentments and go back through, how do I feel, or where did I not turn up in the right way? We call it, cleaning up in some personal development programs. We're actually called to go back through our life and clean up, and to apologize to the people we need to apologize to. And what it does is it shifts energy in your life, powerfully shifts energy in your life. So that would be my key. Not easy. Not easy.
And
Go on.
it's amazing that you said that. No one is perfect. As much as we love our bliss, we have some disagreements, and we had a small one. And Stephen said to me, I'm really sorry how I made you feel that moment, and that it didn't feel good to me. And he opened up and apologized in that particular instance, and it just, there was nothing, you can't be angry at him. And we have disagreements. We don't have arguments, is what we don't have in our relationship, because we know how to communicate how we feel, and we don't let that anger fester.
Yes.
We deal with it right away, or that disappointment more so than anything. We deal with it right away, and we talk and we say straight out what we felt, what we wanted, and we come up with a better way to handle it the next time.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I would say that he does so well.
I like how you said about apologizing and letting things go. I'm full of stories out of books I've read. One was from Eckhart Tolle about the two monks that were traveling, and to make a long story short, they saw a young lady trying to cross a stream in a beautiful kimono, and the one monk picked her up and carried her across so she wouldn't get wet. And the two monks continued on their journey, and the one was furious because in their monk culture, they're not supposed to talk to ladies. They're not, and and definitely not touch him. So the other monk was just furious with him. And they walked and they walked and they walked. And the one that was furious got so angry. He said, why did you touch that woman? You know it is forbidden for us to talk to that woman. And you even touched her. He said, I put her down on the other side of the stream. Are you still carrying that? And so that's one of the things Sonji and I do, you know, when we do have disagreements and we see the other one is upset, we say, are you still carrying that? Because it's no need to carry it. We can release it. And like you said, open up that beautiful space and energy back into the relationship. And when you have that intention to maintain that beautiful space of forgiveness and freeness, you know, that's when you can really have fun in a relationship. And that's our third point. Make it fun. You have to have fun in life.
Totally.
People are too serious.
And sometimes you need to go away for a bit and work that thing out. Like, it's like, okay, I need to get myself straight before I can come back with a good attitude, you know, and it's okay to do that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay to do that. So what was your third? What's your third?
The third, yeah, the third one is have fun. Oh my God, you got to have fun. We have fun everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I mean, the adventures that we go on, and we've been married 10 years, and people think the sex gets boring. You can still have fun. Oh my God. If you're open and just have fun and communicate.
Yeah.
See, you bring all three. You communicate and you're kind. You can really have fun. You can explore possibilities, the just different adventures. I introduced Sonji to skiing in the last 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
and it's been a passion of mine. But she comes in it wholeheartedly, and she just loves the people that are there and the adventure and the challenge. And it doesn't matter what it is. Sonji loves yard selling and shopping, and I'll go with her, and we'll have fun.
Yeah.
And you engage in what your partner likes to do wholeheartedly. Don't just go begrudgingly. Well, I go over there because you know how she gonna be if I don't go. But if you go over with that attitude, she gonna be that way anyway.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's like you don't really want to be here, so what's the point? You're making it. It's no fun anymore.
One of the things that we do that our adult children just hate is everywhere we go, we act like we've met for the first time.
I love that.
I could be pulling, we'll get out at the gas station. Oh, well, actually, he'll get out at the gas station to pump the gas, and I'll be sitting behind the wheel, and he'll come up to the window and he say, hey, you kind of cute. What's your name is? So we do that in the mall.
Sweet.
We do that at the restaurant. We do that wherever we go. And you know, we always like to also see what other people are there, you know, oh my God, he's picking her up right here, you know. But we do that all the time. And we try different scenarios. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm married. I'm happily married. I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do to break up my happy home. Or I'm like, you know what? My man ain't doing so well, so
give me
I'm
a
gonna take you today. So we do that. The other thing we do, as I said, in the kindness aspect, we in the spicing up aspect is we role play people. If you don't role play, you don't know what you're missing.
Oh, I love it. Now we're talking my
do the
talk.
whole shebang, the costumes, the role play.
Sweet.
We just have a really good time, and he can't even describe his pleasure and joy to his buddies, because they just will not believe it. You know, from massages to the bubble baths to the costumes,
and don't forget
all
the
out there.
exfoliating.
Oh, man, you don't know what you're missing if you haven't had a good body scrub.
My guy's looked out. It's like, this is the best part of my life. Life is good. I'm giving gratitude every day. I'm adding to my vision board.
But it's just so much fun.
Yeah,
And the way we talk about it too, you know, it's like taboo to
yeah,
speak it, but everybody knows I'm just crazy. I just have a good time. When it comes to love, there is nothing stopping me.
exactly. It's so interesting because um so we're totally on the same page. So my next tip is sex dates, but we'll come back to that. Sounds like you're already on it, but for some of our viewers, sex dates, we're going to talk about that. But I was at a conference and I was talking to people asking what I do, and I said, well, I'm a sex and relationship coach and I help, couples and singles. And one lady said, "Oh, wow, that sounds amazing." And watch, the other lady snapped her head and she said, "You're married and you're a Christian in this really, like you should be ashamed and you shouldn't speak about these things." I said, "Well, how do you think a marriage stays together?" I said, "Are you living as sister and brother or are you living as husband and wife?" Because these are two very different energies. And one of the things that we find with long-term couples is that the passion goes, and it's not about blame, it's just about life and our energy and attention, and they feel like they're living as brother and sister, and they wonder, where does the passion go? And then they're thinking, well, would I be better off with someone else? Would I be better on my own? But they really love each other, but it's just the passion's gone. And that's something that we need to put energy into, just like anything else in our world. And so I was having a conversation with a client, and when she came to me, she said, we've had a baby. Life is very different. It's been maybe about 18 months, 2 years since they had their first child, and she'd our sex life's dwindled. And that happens for a lot of couples. And of course you're exhausted, and of course hormones are all over the place, and everyone's adjusting to this new life. And it doesn't have to go 2 years before you get things back on track. So what I suggested to her was sex dates, and she didn't want to hear it at first. So she's like, "Oh, that sounds really sad. I don't want to be that couple that has to plan sex." I said, "Well, it's more sex than you're having now, isn't it?" Because sometimes my clients need a wake-up call. They complain. They'll say, "This is not working. This is not working," when they're actually giving the advice to get things back on track. "Oh no, I don't want to do that." And it's because of this kind of external fear of judgment, again, that everything should just work, that a dream relationship should just happen by magic, that a dream sex life happens by magic. It doesn't. It requires your participation, your energy, your intention, and your attention to it. So I said, "Well, what if you planned just once a month that you and your partner," and said, "just start with an hour." I know, but for a start, for one, they're like, "Oh no, these are for a start. They might not have had sex for like 18 months." And I said, no pressure. Once a month, just an hour. Can you commit to that? Just an hour where it's just for you two, and you commit to that 1 hour that's just for you and your partner, and it's non-negotiable. So you might want to make these once a week. With some of my couples, I'll say at least once a week. Doesn't mean you can only have sex once a week. Anything else outside of that is however it happens naturally and organically. But when they're trying to get the sex life back on track, or find a new way to connect sexually, because we can get stuck in a rut, or we might have a particular fetish that we're attached to, so we have sex in only one particular way, and then it becomes unfulfilling as we kind of grow sexually, and we want to expand new ways of making love, different ways of connecting, what else is available to us. So I said, okay, have a sex lab once a week or once a month, and each time each partner brings something. So one week one might have an idea, the other week another might have an idea. Anything goes. It might be that you just spend that 1 hour just lying together, holding each other, because what you're really craving is deep connection and intimacy and softness. And what I've also find is like we have this conception that this is what women need, but not what men need, and it's a lie. It's just this big fat lie that men don't need to be taken care of and they don't need to feel loved and nurtured. It's harder for them to ask because of the social conditioning, and they enjoy it just as much as women do. But we can bring these different energies into this sex date, and then we might dress up, and then we might practice a particular fetish if that's what one has, or we might just spend an hour together just exploring. We might just say, let's book a hotel or a motel for an hour, or something like this. But taking that time and is like putting energy into your relationship and making sure that each partner's needs are being taken care of. Does that make sense? But you know, I find this is one of the a critical thing for people in their relationships. But the people who need it most are the most resistant because they think, oh, it's sad. You know, I don't want to be that couple who has to plan sex. And of course, I'm like, well, it's more sex than you're having now. So off you go, get your diary out and make a start.
Yes. One of the things that I find that we are unique in our coaching of couples is that unlike a therapist who really tries to keep it clinical and simple, we bring the perspective of the other sex to that particular individual.
Perfect.
So if it's the woman that we're talking to, I can talk to her about how I meet his needs. I can also talk to her and relate to her in her own terminologies, depending on how her personality is. And the same thing with Stephen. He can talk to her from a man's perspective, but also talk to the husband from the woman's perspective. And we give them the possibilities that they may not be seeing and other options and choices. So we really enjoy coaching couples that come into our lives and so forth. And you were talking about the, you might need intimacy or just laying there. One of the things that he might remember the costumes. I remember the Saturday mornings, laying in the bed, getting up at, just 5 or something when we naturally wake up and having conversations. We might watch something like on Oprah television or something that we recorded and then have a real deep conversation about how we feel. We used to watch Divorce Court here in the United States, and we would talk about those issues that those couples had, which then let him see my point of how I view that, and his point of view see it as well. So we just had long conversations. Then we go back to sleep, get up, have breakfast, or have that sex date you were talking about at that particular time. But it was just a Saturday morning ritual. And of course, things change and we have other things that are going on, building our business and so forth. But every now and then we get back to that conversation, that real just getting to know each other,
and that
time in the morning,
bonding, isn't
and
it?
just
This
having
is
that
like
pillow talk.
and that's a turn on. Like this is what it's like we connect on so many different levels. Like the mind is the most powerful sexual organ, whether that be fantasy or like anticipation or like a deep respect for our partner because of their ability to connect and communicate and to explore, intellectually different ideas and concepts. This makes you want to be around that man or that woman because you're like, wow, I love what I get from this person. You naturally magnetize to that person because you connect in such a deep way. And these are the things that feed into our sexual connection. The energy that we're willing to put into each other, and our energy together creates our magnetism towards each other rather than just going about our own just separate lives, our own separate thoughts and ideas, and then coming together and just hoping and praying that the sex is going to work and be fulfilling without any connection or communication or kindness. Or we kind of build these it's like threads, isn't it? We're kind of building these love threads between us at different areas of our life, whether it's breakfast or it's coffee or it's a great conversation or it's an apology or a conversation about the sex that we really love or the things that we don't love, but we feel closer to our partner because they have the bravery to be honest. And we're building these threads of love, with our partner, so that if something difficult does happen, the rope is thick. The threads of that rope are thick. So one thing can't break that bond. Two things can't break that bond. There's going to have to be a lot that breaks the bond of that relationship when we're pouring into each other because we're creating a strong rope that connects us.
I love that analogy that you gave about the rope. That is wonderful. That kind of explains how the relationships build one strand at a time, all the little things that you do, the little phone call during the day or the phone call on the way home. Do you need me to pick something up on the way home? I know you're tired today. Let me pick something up for dinner on the way home. I mean, little things like that feed into the relationship and just make it better and better. And one of the things I like is that how our relationship continues to blossom and grow in a, it's, some people may say in a unrealistic fantasy way, but you can make it happen. It really depends on you.
Yeah.
A lot of times our expectation is set so low by the examples that we've had in our life where people just tolerate each other, you know. And I always say you need to be in a place where you're celebrated and not tolerated. Celebrate each other. Celebrate what your spouse does, who they are. You know, one of the things I do for Sonji is I always tell her how beautiful she is, how brilliant she is, and constantly building her up. I mean, you know, what you appreciate expands in your life. Yes. Whatever you concentrate on will expand in your life. If I concentrate on negative things, that will expand in my life as well. But I concentrate on the beauty that she brings, the ingenuity, the things she does behind the scenes in our business is just absolutely amazing. And then has time to come out here on camera with me and share. You know, who can ask for anything more?
Yeah. Beautiful. It is.
You do.
I'll give you $10 later. I think and I think this, you know, this is the key to long-lasting relationships. It's these small things that we do in a consistent fashion. And I think this is what can save a relationship. You know, even if a relationship's on its last legs, people manage to turn things around, and you know, we have to start where we're at. We have to start where we are and work with what we've got. And you know, it requires a bit of time, energy, and attention, but we just start to do the sweet things again. You know, what are the sweet things that we used to do for each other when we met? You know, if I was truly like honoring this person and really taking care of them, how would I be? What small things would I do? And sometimes, you know, it might only be you for a little while, and then the energy will start to come back. If that person you meant to be with that person, then that energy will start to grow, and then it can be reciprocated, and then we can start to build this flow again where we're both like this it's called the infinity loop, isn't it? You know, this kind of circle, never-ending kind of connection where we're both feeding and we're both receiving, and we're both feeding and we're both receiving, and that's a beautiful place to be. So I think we've kind of come to the end. I've really enjoyed this. I mean, we had such technical problems. I was like, no, this isn't happening. Third time lucky. We got there in the end. We did it on your timeline. I don't know why it wouldn't add you, but anyway, we worked it out. So I'm really pleased about that. Yeah. Just remind us about where people can find you, find out about Blisstopia University and the work that you do.
Yes, they can come to our website, myblistopia.com. Yeah. You can follow myself, Stephen Millet, or Sonji Millet on Facebook. We're posting live. We're in the midst of 5 days, 7 days of posting together. So stop by and join us. You can follow me at the Bliss Doctor on Twitter. Just come by and share with us, ask questions, because we'd love to share with you the things that are pressing on your mind. I mean, we can talk all day, but we want to reach people where they are and share our bliss with them, because at Millet Enterprises, we say, let me help you find your bliss. You have to know what that looks like. Some people don't even know what they want to be happy. I want to be happy. We help you narrow down what it is you want and help get you on a path toward that in a loving, kind way.
Sweet. Beautiful.
And fun.
In a very fun way. This journey can be fun.
Absolutely. So
transformation.
We've got a comment below. Stephen says, are you still carrying that? Thanks for that one. So I think that was one of his takeaways. And if you're watching this on the replay, please just you know, send a message, let us know that you're on the replay. So this is going to be on Stephen's page, so you can tag me at J Diamond if you've got any questions for me. And of course you can add me on Facebook. If you go to Ms. J Diamond, MSJAY Diamond, you can go there and find lots of more videos and posts and blogs and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so thank you very much. I know it's early in the morning where you are.
Oh,
All
Okay,
right.
blessings, and we'll speak again soon. Take care.
We'll look forward to it. Bye bye now.
All
Namaste.
right.